Hello and welcome back to another video, my fellow commandants. Today we're going to be talking about Lucia Oathblaze, the brand new S-rank fire attacker burning her way into your hearts. We'll be going over her kit, memories, weapons, teams, and investment priorities. So before we begin, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to see more content like this. Now on to the video. On paper, this has got to be one of the most complicated kits I've ever read. And Kuro Games is not helping with all of this war vomit. Alright, let's break it down and make it way easier to understand. To start, Lucia doesn't have a normal signal orb kit like most other units. The closest comparison would be something similar to Han Ying Solace 2. However, Lucia is a bit more complicated than that. To keep things simple, red orb will be used to launch Lucia into the air, yellow will trigger her second basic attack combo, however you're not going to be using yellow a whole lot, and blue orb is going to be used only in her ionization rotation. Her fire rotation, which is her main rotation that you should be concerning yourself with, is as follows. Swap into Lucia, basic attack, hold signature move 1, red orb 3 times, basic attack, hold signature move 2, hold basic attack, 2 red orbs, tap basic, tap signature move 2, hold basic attack, final signature move. This honestly sounds super complicated, however with a bit of practice in the training stage, you'll master it in no time at all. Next, let's talk about her ionization rotation. This rotation relies heavily on Karenina Shear to work. Specifically, you need a leaped Karenina Shear. And if you have any questions about her leap, make sure to check out my Karenina Shear leap guide. So, to start on Karenina, 3 red ping, which will put Karenina into her comet combo state. Follow this up with any 3 ping, pinging the free orb in Matrix and any 3 ping. This will give you 1 stack of electric charge, meaning you can now swap into Lucia if you so choose. Now if you don't have Karenina Shear leaped or simply can't afford to invest in her, your other option for triggering ionization effect is basic attack with Lucia 5 times, then blue orb. And repeat till you have 1 full charge of electric current, which is obviously not ideal and it's super slow. It's important that you have at least 1 full charge of electric current before we get into Lucia's ionization rotation, because otherwise it won't trigger. So now that you have the ionization field up, or at least 1 field of electric current, hold Lucia's first signature move, then hold blue orb, which will give you a bunch of blue orbs. Ping blue orb 2 times, hold basic attack, then hold signature move, hold basic attack, ping blue orb 3 times, and then use your second ultimate. Now when it comes to both the fire rotation and ionization rotation, obviously investment will factor in heavily. Something we'll go over more in the investment section of the video. But the gist is, you'll perform the rotation 2 or more times with double S3 and having her signature weapon with deadline timing. If you don't have that, you're gonna only perform rotations typically once. Finally, and this is just a little bit of a side note, in her first state, tapping signature move will let Lucia jump, which can trigger Matrix and dodge attacks. You won't be using this a whole lot though. There are actually different memory sets for what you can be running, depending on your investment, of course. For her main fire set, you will want to run her 4-piece signature memory set, Heraclitus, and 2-piece Kadi, with Kadi being on slot 1 and 3, and Heraclitus on 2, 4, 5, and 6. For harmonization, harmonize Kadi. Her ionization changes very little, where instead of using Kadi on harmonization, you'll be using the new ionization memory set, Wild. Alright, let's talk weapon. And if I'm being honest, Lucia really needs her signature weapon, along with resonance, deadline timing. The main reason for that is that she will eat orbs, like crazy. Not only that, like a lot of newer S ranks, she relies heavily on having harmonization, which can only be applied if you have her signature weapon. For her weapon resonance, as I stated earlier, deadline timing is a must, and should be your top priority. Follow this up with Glorious Afterglow, and then finally, Incandescence. Alright, now it should come as no surprise that Lucia, being the fire attacker, belongs on the fire team. Shocking, I know. Her best teammates are going to be Watanabe Epitaph and Liv Imperia. While Watanabe has replacements if you don't have him, Liv on the other hand really doesn't have a good fire replacement. However, she is free from the voucher shop if you want to pick her up there. Or, you can wait until the recently announced Vera Fire Amplifier releases on Global. In which case, Vera will replace Liv when she does. Now keep in mind, If you have Watanabe, you will still want to switch his memory set over to 4-piece Alphonse and 2-piece Shakespeare in Harmonized Shakespeare. This will enable Lucia to deal even more damage due to the extra shred that 4-piece Shakespeare provides. However, that isn't the only team that Lucia Pyroath is going to be on. She's also the primary attacker for the Ionization team. Her best teammates are a Leap Karenina Shear and an amplifier of your choice, at least until the future Ionization amplifier, Lilith, is released on Global, who, by the way, is going to be free. Now, as I stated earlier, you will need Karenina to be leaped for this team to work, mainly because the team doesn't function nearly as well without her leap. Alright, now let's talk investment. Now keep in mind, when it comes to investment, this is purely stated from a meta perspective, and I encourage pulling waifu over meta. Meaning if you want to max out Lucia simply because you like her, then you should. Likewise, if you want to skip, then skip. Now, free-to-plays are going to be able to double S at minimum through Pain Cage, and as stated in the weapon portion of the video, Lucia absolutely wants her signature weapon and deadline timing. However, if you can't afford to pull her signature weapon, she can cope with her 5-star weapon. However, expect a bumpy ride. For my low spenders, double S3 is an absolute must, especially if you plan to rank in Hero or higher, where you will be encountering those pesky Ionization Warzone stages. This, along with signature weapon and deadline timing, are once again, obviously, a must. An important note, Lucia can perform her rotation twice, as long as she has double S3 and signature weapon. Now, Lucia's triple S, like any triple S, is the final quality of life to make things a tad less stressful, as it gives extra signature energy when using basic attack Aura Dance, and has Lucia immediately gain Aura Mark when casting Flare combo, Blazing Spark, for the first time when entering the battlefield. Finally, for the Giga Whales, as per the usual, triple S3, 6, and triple S Plus are the huge power boost to basic attacks, 3 pings, and signature moves respectively. Lucia has never looked better, and I genuinely mean that. Out of all of Lucia's frames, I think this one is the absolute best. That being said, she is really expensive, needing double S3 and signature weapon with DLT to function properly, making her not exactly the most free-to-play friendly. That being said, as someone without Lee Hyperheal, I'm more than ready for Lucia. So, are you guys pulling Lucia? Let me know in the comments down below, and tell me how excited you guys are for her. If you liked the video, please consider dropping a like and subscribe and hitting that notification bell to be notified whenever I drop a new video or go live. I have a growing Discord where you can chat with other PGR and WoWa players and ask any questions you may have. With that, everyone, have a great rest of your day, and I'll catch you on the next video. Take care.